Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of 4 Wheel Builds.
So guys, a bit of a break because I got a call from the V12 garage to come in and have a look at the engine, and it's not good news, unfortunately.
So the issue is the crankshaft is actually bent. So the impact of the accident bent the crankshaft. But how can you tell? If you take a look at the oil seals in the rod bearing ends, there's scuff marks on them, on the first one and the second one.
The cost of a replacement engine is about 12,000 zloty, so that's about 3,000 euro, $3,500. But there's many salvageable parts on this, so like the turbos, the heads. There's a whole bunch of other parts which can be sold off. So I'll buy a replacement engine, and then I'll take this apart and I guess sell it off in pieces, and hopefully we can make this work somehow financially. So this crankshaft is bent and needs to be thrown out. Now there are alternates to doing this. We could actually buy a new crankshaft, get the engine taken apart, the block taken out, and obviously the block will be ground down to make it straight. But first of all, I mean, that's a lot of money in itself to actually do that. In the end, you still end up with the same engine, which could potentially, well, I'm not quite sure if it's, what the length of life for that engine might be. Just had a chat with the head mechanic here at the V12 garage. The decision is that we'll buy a new engine, we'll put that in, and the old engine basically just sell off. And that will be the end of that. And that process will be a lot quicker as well to get the car on the road, which is a good thing, and I'm really happy about that. So it's a few days later. It's just about 6 AM. I've been able to source a new, well, not a new, used M276 engine, which is going to go into a C450 AMG build. And I'm just on my way to a place called Sokołów Podlaski, which is past Warsaw, about just over 400 kilometers from here, to pick that engine up and bring it back so we can shove it into the AMG. Anyway, let's hit the road and get that engine. So we're on our way to pick up the engine. But let me just take you back. Let me convey us to why we're actually buying the engine. So, as I mentioned, the crankshaft is bent in the car. So, there was essentially, we discussed it with the V12 garage boys. There were three options. One was to just buy a crankshaft, put it in, bolt everything up, and away we go. But we're not 100% sure if there was anything that's happened to the block. Now, in order for the block to be checked, we'd have to strip the whole engine down, and this is, by the way, option number 2. We'd have to strip the entire engine down to a bare block, send it away to be honed, whatever they, the machine it, whatever they need to do. But I guess the issue with that is that, obviously I still need to buy a new crankshaft, get the block machine honed, plus there's obviously quite a considerable cost in terms of the mechanic or the garage cost that's actually going to strip the engine apart and put it back together. Now, I probably could do a little bit of the work myself, but as I mentioned, I'm not a mechanic. I do this out of passion. It's a hobby. There's certain things I cannot do, and I think putting an engine such as this one back together at this point in time is not something that I would undertake. I just don't feel confident being able to do that. And then, so we come to option number 3, which is to buy an engine. Now, obviously, it's going to be a used engine. The engine I found, well, apparently it's got 80 Ks, well, 80,000 kilometers on it. I haven't, I guess, way to verify it, but we'll obviously take a look at it. But in terms of buying the engine, it's going to cost me about 11,000 zloty. But I guess I get an engine, plus I get to keep my old engine. Now, when I started looking at parts, the actual parts for the engine I've got, although the crankshaft is damaged and I guess potentially the block is damaged, what I can do is sell things off. So the turbos are worth about 1,800 each. So the heads, they were worth about 1,500 each. The rods and the pistons, they're probably worth about 500 each. So as you can see, these things build up, and all the cool parts that I have, the oil pan is worth about 2,000. If it all works out, I'm actually going to looking at the potential of actually making money on this rather than losing any money. That sort of just leaned me to the option of actually buying an engine, stripping the one I've got apart, and I'll film that. So I'll make an episode of that, which I think it will be a really good episode. Plus it will be a really good learning curve for me just to see how everything is put together. But in the end, obviously it's not going to happen right away, but in the end, when I sell all these parts off, I'll get my money back, or even make up a little bit of cash on it. So that's why I'll lean towards getting another engine. Well, I got what I came for. If you can see behind me, there's a M276 engine sitting right there, which is going to be ready to be put into the C450 AMG. I'm ecstatic I was able to get the engine. It looks like it's all in good order. Obviously we'll give it proper checks when we get on site. We've got another 300k or so to do, but we're nearly there. Anyway, I'll see you in the workshop. So tomorrow, guys, it's a big day. The V12 garage will bring the engine back and we'll go through and get that installed into the C450 AMG.
I'm just making the last preparations. I've lifted the car up because the front subframe needs to come out for the engine to be installed, and then the whole thing needs to go back. Plus I'm getting all the parts, bolts, nuts, whatever we need. Ensure that I've got that ready, so tomorrow we're not looking for something's not lost, and yeah, basically everything's just on hand to come in and get the job done, and that's it. So hopefully, keeping fingers crossed, tomorrow we might be able to fire this sucker off.
And hopefully this is the last time we see this C450 AMG in this state.
And I've started putting the interior back. I slotted in the vent, plus I've put the carpet in. That was a mega easy job. So now the next thing is getting these accelerator pedal installed, which is quite an easy task. It's just a couple of screws, plus there's a cable somewhere back there which I need to hunt out, because that needs to be connected to there. Plastic bolts. Now we're ready to hit the pedal to the metal. Well, I guess it's pedal to the plastic in this case. And the trim was as easy to pull back as it was to take off. I really like the Mercedes trim, I must admit. Okay, and let's see if I can get this seat back in without scratching up half the car. The seats are quite heavy, I must admit. Okay. Okay, the seat's back in. Without any damage to the paintwork this time. Well, seems I've arrived a little bit late because the V12 garage boys are already here. And it looks like they're already doing something, so let's go have a look in the garage as to what they're up to. There they are, look at them.
Well, seems that whilst I've been at work, these guys have been very, very busy getting the engine installed. So it's pretty much in.
Flashback. End of flashback.
In order to get the car started, I needed a fire fuse, which I did not have on hand. This was a big setback, and I needed to get one ordered fast.
And through the magic of YouTube, for you guys it was a few seconds, for me it was a few days. But we've got a package, and within that package we've got the fuse that we need to replace in the car. So let's get this sucker opened and get it installed. Well, it looks quite nice. It's missing the, I guess, the piece here, but that's fine. I've got that on mine. And I guess the most important thing of all is make sure this fuse is good. Ta-da! Now let's set a meter to the continuity test. There it is right there. And let's have a look, see if this works. One prong on one side of the fuse, and there's the signal. Okay, we have continuity, and as I open up this fuse box, there's actually a few more fuses that we should check to make sure that we've got continuity. So let's do that right now. Okay, so they're all good, and now indeed I'm happy to put this on the car. Okay, in order to get this fuse box removed, first of all we'll need to remove this battery and all the connectors going to it. And that's pretty much always, as always, a 13mm. You gotta love this Mercedes. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of cables that are connected to this fuse box. So what I need to do is just get these marked so I know where they need to go back. And then let's take these off. Finally, we've got everything removed. So let's now get a new fuse box and get this installed. And that takes care of that. So we've got the entire fuse box changed over to the new one. And now we shouldn't have any problems with this anymore. So I'm just waiting for the V12 garage owner to pop in, and we're gonna see if we can get this sucker started. Dobra, patrz, tu jest Bobber! And guys, did you see that? That was the first firing of this M276 engine, and it sounded awesome. And I must tell you, that's really good news for me, because I know the engine is good, it runs nice, and now that the engine is running, I'm really keen on putting this front end, well, all the coolers and radiators back together to make sure we can get this thing fired up and get it running for a while, get it warmed up, and just make sure that it all runs smoothly. So I've run out and grabbed that belt. Continental, highly recommended. So let's snag this sucker on to all these pulleys and wheels here, and then continue on putting this front end together. That doesn't seem right as well. Well, I got that horribly wrong. Let's ask Uncle Google how this belt really goes on. So here's how the serpentine belt is meant to go on. And I've got it on like this. So, well, I got it horribly wrong. So let's get it redone. Okay, that looks like it's on. Not sure about you guys, but since I've heard this motor run, I want more. Oh, it's just one of those real uncomfortable jobs where you got to get the pipe in here and then bolt it down to... okay, I think I need to take this bracket off first. So before I put the pipe on, I notice I actually need to get these 2 pipes sorted out here as well. Somehow threaded in here. Oh, and if you don't have a helping hand sometimes to hold anything in place, use a zip tie. Turn that up somewhat, and now let's cut this zip tie off. So these suckers are not going anywhere now. Alright, so let's get this pipe in now. Once again, thanks Mercedes engineers for making the access real easy. Now that we've got this pipe on, and next up is our intercooler. So I can see that I've got this pipe here and I've got these here, so what I might just do is take this, I think I'll take this off. And now that we've got the intercooler on and the belts on, let's give this car a start. Just make sure that all the belts are running well, there's no issues, before we continue on putting the rest of the front on. So that's the car running, all the belts are running well. We can continue on putting this front end together. And next thing is, are these radiator support brackets that slot into the front subframe. So I'm not quite sure if there's a right and wrong way of doing this, but there's 3 holes here, 3 holes there. I need to line up, I would say. I did disconnect the battery. Okay, that should be good. And these bolts come through. That's really important. These bolts need to come through right to the bottom, because that's what this thing screws on, which is the actual mount for the radiators. Just made a little convincing. So this will be this side. Keep on forgetting that humanity has actually invented a drill. That makes this work a whole lot easier. That's solid as a rock. Okay, let's get that one done too. Whilst I'm waiting for the rubber grommet to arrive, so I'll get some of these connectors done, because there's quite a few severed connections which need to be put back together. So let me get that done whilst we're waiting for the parts that we're missing for the radiator to come in. Okay guys, so I've got the first set of wires prepared. Let's join these up and get them soldered. I'm gonna follow a little zip tie because the tape is already coming undone. Let's put a little zip tie there. Nice and tight. Keep it nice and neat. Alright guys, and as you've seen on the time lapse, I cleaned up all the cabling, or I repaired all the cabling. Came out really well, I must admit. I found the temperature sensor for the outside, and this is the actual horn, left horn. So that's all been patched up and sorted out, looking as good as new. Plus there's still one cable. Now this I've extended because this was actually cut up somewhere about here, but I found this piece and I've extended it, but well, quite frankly I have no idea where the hell that goes. So if anyone does know, please leave me a comment, because I'm really eager to know. And I did think it might have been the actual the crash sensor, but crash sensor is here somewhere. Where is it? There it is there. So there's the crash sensor, so it's not that. So yeah, if you know what it is, hit me up, because yeah, I'm really keen to know.
Okay, and I must say, finally, this rubber grommet thingy has arrived. Yes, it doesn't seem like much, but this little thing has stopped the installment of the entire radiator pack to the front of the C450 AMG.
So take a guess what we're going to be doing today.
And there's the poor radiator pack. It's just been sitting there collecting dust, and there is quite a bit on there, but fear not, we can take this thing and get that put on to the front of the car.
But before we put this radiator pack onto the car, I think it needs a bit of a vacuum. Let's clean it up to make sure it's looking nice and pretty for the car. And there's a butterfly that's been sleeping on the radiator pack. Oh well, we'll put him back. Alright, there's our radiator pack installed. Got to hook it all up now. Okay. And I do have a seal on both of these. Yes, I do. Coming off. So. And guys, take a look at that. How good does that look?
The entire radiator pack has been installed, everything's connected, everything's fitting up really nicely. I'm just so happy to see everything fitted up and ready to go.
Are you impressed?
What?
I don't think she knows what it means.
I not speak English.
Yes, you do.
I speak the Polish.
So there's really one more thing to be done now with the radiator pack, and that is to get our kit and give it a leak test. Now for the leak test, I'll use such a device, which is a pump. You put one of these caps onto the actual overflow tank, and then, well, you pump it up with water, well, air, and, well, you gauge if the pressure is going down or not. Okay, so it's just a case of selecting the right adapter, and in this case it's going to be this one. So let's take that over and get it installed. Tighten these up. It's just a matter of slipping our pump in. Now the pump has got a gauge on here, so let's pump it up about 1 bar and see how we go. Keep our fingers crossed that all our hoses are good. Okay, I'm pumping and nothing's happening, and the needle's still sitting at 0. Because we'll have a leak somewhere. Okay, so I must say I'm quite stuck as to what's actually going on. I've got some soapy water out. I sprayed all the connections up to see if maybe if something's bubbling up somewhere, to see where the leak is. I mean that fundamentally I'm pumping and I'm building absolutely no pressure, so if it's going to be a leak, it's going to be a very big leak. It's not going to be a little one, because a little one will let me at least build up some pressure. This is not allowing me to do anything. Yeah, I need to devise I guess a way of actually checking this. I mean, a smoke tester would be great, because we could plug it up and I guess where the leak is, the smoke will be coming out, and we can find this very easily, but well, I don't have one. The cooling system leak has got me beat for the time being. I've tried soapy water. I haven't been able to spot anything that's that's leaking out anywhere. I've checked all the hoses, they're all connected. At this time, this thing's got me beat, I must admit. Not quite sure. So anyway, rather than waste time and just pondering over this, I'll have a think about this overnight. But I've got something. Let me show you what. Alright, so Probably remember the debacle I had with the C63 grill to fit my C43 bumper. And the grill said, I'm having none of that. So I went out and ta-da! I purchased a C43 grill. So here's the C43 and here's the C63. Now they're pretty much identical. I must admit, I still like the C63 a little bit better. It's just, I don't know, just the way the actual grill chrome or the silver bit is finished, it just seems a lot better than what's here. But I already checked, they're not swappable. So not having none of that, I'll be running this grill. Anyway, let's see if we can get this fitted into the bumper and then get the entire bumper put back together again. And I'm getting those very satisfying clicks of the actual plastic molding clicking together.
I had to stop putting the grill in because I got to take it out because, as you can see, can't get the focus, but I guess the hole I cut out for the camera is just not wide enough to shave this bumper just a touch more.
Let's take this grill out for a second.
Just needed a touch, so let's see if we can get the grill and give it another test.
Yes, needs a little bit smidgen more at the front to be taken off. And I think as soon as we do that, we should be good to go. So guys, check this out. That now fits perfectly. It's as if this bumper was actually made for a camera. And guys, and check out how good that bumper looks now with that AMG grill installed. Let me put that up, make sure it doesn't fall off. Yeah, that's really changed the front, I must admit, of the car. It's looking, in my view, a lot more aggressive now.
The new grill came with some blank-out plate for the camera, so I need to get that removed and get my camera actually installed in there.
And there's my camera.
Which needs to get installed into here.
That's the camera installed. Well guys, I don't believe this logo is going to go on this car because the whole, I guess, installation is different on this than what it is on this grill. It just does not want to line up with anything. When I compare it to this grill, the actual mounting holes are very different between this grill and that grill. So it seems I need to get a completely different logo for this grill. Right, so now I need to figure out what sort of grill I need to get for this in order to finish this off. If one of you knows, please leave me a comment. I am on a search for a logo of such installation for a AMG W205 C43 grill. So I am very disappointed. It's my sad face. That obviously we're not going to be able to finish this bumper off today, but well, it is what it is. I need to find another logo and then we'll finish this sucker off. And then we just got to figure out as to why these radiators are not holding pressure, possibly leaking. But I don't think so. I think there's something else at play there. But guys, I think for today's episode, that will be it. Got a lot of work done in this episode. If you enjoyed it, please leave me a like, leave me a comment, especially around this logo. Or if you got a solution for this, for my coolant problem, well, leave me a comment as well. If you did enjoy the content, please consider subscribing to the channel because it's going to help me and the channel out enormously. It helps that YouTube algorithm to push me up and, well, it's going to help the channel grow. Okay, that'll be cheerio for now, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.